Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Isley. Welcome back to another video. This would be part 2 of my remake of Snake using C++ and SDL2. So it started off pretty rough just because I feel like from Python to this, it's a lot more nuancy. So, and then luckily there's good tutorials out there from Foo, Lazy Foo. So I used some of his stuff to help me get through it, and then as well as some of the SDL wiki page to come up with some of the rest. So I'll kind of show you where it's at right now. So just using my arrow keys. So on the first one, you can go back on yourself. So normally you wouldn't be able to do that. So like if I was to go back on myself now, it would end the game. But I have it set so it knows the screen parameters. So even with the little gray menu bar up top is still blocked off, and then as you can see, my score ticks up every time I have it. So that's just rendering the text every time, and that's about it. You can die when you hit the wall, and then if you were to double back on yourself, the game ends as well. So I just wanted to get the mechanics down. I didn't make any like win-lose screen or a high score or like any menus or restart button like that. I felt like just getting through that was difficult enough for me. But I'll kind of show you just kind of what my code does, and then probably wrap the video up. But so I got all my files. I found out with Python it's very easy to bring in a new library, but with C++, I learned that you have to download. Like I had to download the text file, download the image, SDL image, and then SDL, just the main SDL2 that I wanted to use. And then, so I learned a lot about creating the paths and stuff to those files. But for the rest of the code, just my constants are my screen width. So you can change these. There's a couple other things you'd have to change in the code if you want to change these, but I just have a 600 by 900 screen. And then I initialize my Windows surface and my rendering, set them to null to start. And then these 3 rectangles are the positions I need, so my tail position, fruit, and snake. And then this is my tail array. So this is for every tail. This is going to save the coordinate for each tail. That way it can loop it. And you can have a, so it could go up to 1,000 if you wanted to play that long. This is my length of the tail. That's just used to iterate over it, so you can see if it collides at any point. And then it also lets the tail render every time. So right here, this is just setting up the first snake position, and then for the length of the tail, it'll do this right here. And then if you keep seeing my mouse go sideways, I drop my computer, so my mouse just shoots over there. And then so the rectangle, so this is just, it renders the next rectangle every time. And that's just using, it's called snake render, but so whenever I initialize my render, I just named it snake render. And then for checking collision, think of left A. Any A is going to be my snake head, and then any B is going to be the fruit. And then what I found worked best was just putting +10 here. It made it look like right when it hit. So that'd be half the box size. So right when it, because my box size is, for the head is 20. So when it hits it, it collides that +10. It's like right on. So I just thought it looked the best. And then if it hits it, it's going to return true. And then otherwise, it's going to return false. All right, and then for my game structure, it just sets the first snake position and then the first fruit position. It looks kind of crazy right here, but so basically, since my snake moves at every 20 blocks, I wanted my fruit to be on every 20 blocks. So this first one is this 600 divided by 20 equals 30. So it's going to randomize 1 through 30, and then it's going to times it by 20. And then for the fruit Y, from 1 to 120 is that gray box. So 5 times 20 is, or excuse me, 6 times 20 is 120. So that's why I put plus 6. So even if it chose 1, it's going to add 6 to it. And so it's just going to make sure that it doesn't go inside the that top box. And then for snake, this is just a snake head. But this is what clears out the render every time. So that's what you see, these first top two. It's going to set the background to that green color, and then it's going to clear out the render. And then it's going to initialize the snake head. So it's going to draw the snake head. Fruit, same thing. It's just going to draw the fruit. I only need one clear function. So, and then you just have to make sure that when I call snake, it's the first one being called. That way it doesn't clear out the other items after I call it. And then for the snake, or for the display board, so that top board you're seeing, this is that gray color. This was a pain to try to figure out because if you look at the Lazy Food tutorials, he's showing you how to kind of render your text like into, like have like I guess a texture that stays on the screen. I don't think it repeats, but so this was kind of a pain. It's pretty short code though for rendering text. A lot of the other stuff I was seeing was pretty long, but basically my text height and width are just it's 0 for all of them, and it's all going to be the same. So I'm just going to kind of cover one, and then I just have 3 textures. I just had to, like this one says texture, this one right here is texture 2, but set my font. So I downloaded a font. I've used it on a previous project, but so I loaded in. I set my color so it's white, and then create a surface for the text to render on. So you have to have a fresh, if you do the TTF render text solid, you have to have a fresh surface for it to go to, is from what I understood from my reading. Set my font, set what I want to say, and color. And then you're just gonna add it, create the texture, and then you're gonna add that texture to a rectangle, and then down here render copy. This, if you don't have a game loop, make sure you put this in the game loop because you want it to keep running. That was one thing that I was reading on the wiki page, is that if you use the render copy, you need it to be inside your game loop. And then I will just show this kind of crazy stuff going on up here. I need my score to be a constant character because that's what the texture accepts, or excuse me, the TFT render accepts. So this is just taking that string stream, setting score to that, and then basically converting it over to a constant char or constant character. So all these are the same. This is just rendering that gray box. And if you want this before your text, that way the gray box doesn't cover up your text. So that's all that is. And then for the close function, this is just going to destroy everything properly and then quit out. So basically if the game quits, it closes everything down properly. The game screen, it just creates the surface and the renderer. And then SDL load surface, this is just optimizing the game surface. So it basically loads in the surface, and then everything that gets loaded in, like the textures and stuff, it optimizes it. All right, and then for my main logic, so I just initialized the score out here, so it's just a global score basically. Snake velocity, that's how fast my snake is. So it's set to 20 because my snake size is 20. If I didn't set it to 20, when it would draw a new square, it wouldn't be like for my tail. If I had it set to 1 for the speed, it would only move the body 1 square back, so it just didn't work properly, so that's why it's set to 20. So if I had a box that was 30 big, I would need to set this to 30 for it to look right. So I'm sure there's something different I could have done there, but that's what I had to do. And then this, you'll see it in the main loop, but this is the directions. So once we have a collision, it's going to draw a new fruit. It's going to add a tail and add 10 to the score. And then if the tail equals 1, I need to add 2 in the beginning to make it look right. So that's what I was kind of talking about earlier. And then snake tails, it's going to draw the snake tails. And then for this is just checking to see if it collides with the screen. This is checking to see if it collides with the tail at any point, so it's just iterating through the tail. And then this is just drawing the fruit. That's drawing the display board. That's doing the render present to show everything. And then this is just delaying it because since it's moving at 20 blocks, it would be off the screen in like less than a second. So it just slows things down. You could also use sleep here. I just was using SDL underscore delay, so there might be a better method. All right, let's see. And this is just my main loop. So initialize the direction. Start with the game structure, and then while the event's not quit, do the rest. So this is just reading the key down. So it's checking the keys. And I did arrow keys, so SDL left, right, or SDLK, excuse me, left, right, up, down. So my keys. And then I assigned a number to each one. And then that number is what tells which velocity right here to go with. So that's how it changes the direction. And then it's going to do the game logic, which and it passes the direction like we were just talking about, and then it closes everything down. So that's really it. So I don't think I'll probably do any more with this project for now, but the code will be on my GitHub. Kind of looking for a new project. Probably do Pong next, so I can start looking at multiple objects, and then that'll help me do some game AI. So I'll probably remake Pong, and then after that, maybe I'll be able to do a small platformer, which is kind of what I really wanted to do. But I just want to start small, and everyone's done Pong, so there's definitely plenty of help out there if I need it. If you have any questions, or if you have any suggestions that something I could have done better, or just questions in general, drop them down in the comments below. Shoot me a subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next video. Take it easy.